Okay, today is Wednesday, April the 1st of 2026. Happy April Fool's Day out there. And for those of you personal injury lawyers who don't want to be a fool when it comes to your intakes, today's video blog and article are just for you. Today's topic is going to be how to convert car accident leads into signed MVA retainers, how to actually convert a lead into a case. I know it sounds asinine, but it's a lot harder than it actually is. At Legal Leads Group, we pride ourselves in transparency. We help all attorneys, even those that aren't signing up with us, with increasing their revenue through quality conversions. We provide a plethora of free tools and free information on our website. Today is another one of those opportunities for you as a personal injury lawyer to learn how you can increase conversions and hopefully capitalize on the marketing dollars that you spend on leads. So it doesn't matter if you are doing organic SEO and PPC internally, if you're utilizing an agency for your managed ads, or if you're buying signed retainers from one of the very many sources out there. Some are reputable, some aren't. That's not really the point of today's blog. The point of today's video, today's blog is how to actually convert. How can you convert uh, inbound leads, whether they're through phone calls or form fills, into signed MVA retainers? And so the first thing we want to talk about is the mindset of someone who is searching online for an attorney. And this is very important for you to sit your staff down. Anyone who's going to be answering the phone, anyone who's going to be answering the form fills, I highly recommend sit them down, let them watch this video, let them read the blog. Here's why. If you're taking time to watch this video, in my opinion, you're either an attorney who is significantly interested in increasing their MVA pipeline, or you work for a law firm. When you work for an attorney, a lot of times you get a little chip on your shoulder, and you believe that it is your job to protect the law firm and protect the lawyer from bogus calls or bogus form fills. Attorneys that are paying for inbound leads, that are investing money in in-house intake teams, it's extremely important that you understand the mindset of a searcher and you help your staff understand the mindset of the searcher. Because if you don't understand it, you are right off the rip starting out your conversions on the wrong foot. Here's why. If John Smith or Jane Smith have a family member who's a lawyer, they're not going to Google. Take you and your staff, for example. I highly doubt that you, as a lawyer, or anyone in your staff is going to go to Google to find an attorney if they need a car accident attorney. They either work for you or you are the lawyer. So they're not going to go online and look for an attorney. They're going to ask you or hire you. So if potential client John or Jane Smith are calling you or filling out a form fill, chances are that they didn't have a family member who's an attorney. They didn't have a gym buddy or a PTA member friend or a neighbor who's an attorney. They forgot every radio jingle, every billboard, every bus ad, and in a very, without being negative, in a very kind of knee jerk goldfish mentality reaction, they just went to Google to find an attorney. And they put in car accident attorney or auto accident lawyer or personal injury attorney or abogado de accidente. They just put in a generic search. And whatever pops up, they're going to click on. Okay. Now, we do tons of blogs that talk about how that's a great way to get clients. This is the opposite. Today's about how to convert them. While it's a great way to get the initial lead, you have to understand the mindset of the searcher. Because they didn't know who to call, because this phone call or this form fill didn't come from a reference, that person calling you or filling out a form has zero loyalty to you. The only thing they know is they believe in their mind they need to talk to an attorney, and they want to talk to an attorney now. That means you have to pick up the phone or answer the form fill right away. And I mean within seconds. There is no calling this person back. There is no getting to it later. That person is actively looking to talk to an attorney. They don't know who to call, which means it's right here, right now. You have to pick the phone up. You have to respond to the form fill right away. Next, mentality. Because there's zero loyalty, you have to sell yourself. They don't know you from the next lawyer. Okay? They don't know about your accolades. They don't know about your awards. They don't know about your reputation. Doesn't matter that they saw over $500 million won. Doesn't matter they saw your Avvo 5-star rating or your 200 plus Google reviews on the ad of the landing page. That's great. Those were CTAs. Those were calls to action. They got them to call you, but it doesn't mean they actually retain that information. Because remember, they're in a rush. That's the next step or the next component of mindset. You have someone that has zero loyalty, that in a very knee-jerk reaction or goldfish reaction went to Google to look for a car accident attorney. They clicked on the first ad that they saw and they called you. They are typically antsy. They have lots of questions. They definitely want to be heard. They want to be able to tell you everything about them, where they bought the car, why they bought the car, what they eat for lunch, why they need money. They tend to go into in-depth conversations when really all you need are 5 or 6 bullet points. When was the accident? Was there police on the scene or a police report filed? Did you go to the hospital or the doctor? Do you have broken bones or any type of physical injury? Did you get the insurance of the person who hit you? You know the bullet points you need, but that's not a priority for the person calling you. Again, mindset. Zero loyalty. They're antsy. They didn't know who to call, so they clicked and called on the very first ad that they found. Because they didn't know an attorney to call and they didn't have a friend who could refer them one, 9 times out of 10, it's either the first time they've talked to an attorney or probably one of the first times in their life they needed to utilize the services of an attorney. They don't fully understand the legal process. They've seen tons of billboards and radio ads that are now starting to fire in their mind about, I can make a lot of money, I can win money, get paid. So you have someone with zero loyalty who didn't know who to call, who doesn't fully understand the legal process, who thinks that they actually are owed money, that they want money. Remember, if someone walks out of county jail and Googles a DUI attorney, their mentality is they're stressed out about being accused or most likely going to be convicted of a crime. They haven't been convicted yet, but it's a sure shot if they got pulled over a DUI and arrested, they're going to get hit for it. So when someone looks for a DUI attorney, they're nervous about protecting the license or a criminal matter. When somebody Googles divorce attorney, either they want to file or they've been served. So there's a whole bunch of emotional elements attached to it. When someone Googles for car accident lawyer and wants to call an attorney, there are times where it is catastrophic and there are definitely severe and significant emotions attached to it. But 9 times out of 10, the person wants to get a check in the mail. It is what it is. Call a spade a spade. Point being, you can start to see how the mentality of a searcher starts to stack up where you need to be careful. And most importantly, you need to educate your staff that's handling these intakes and let them know, look, there's a difference between somebody calling us because they got a referral from a past client or they got a reference from a past client and someone who found us online just by a generic keyword search such as car accident lawyer. That search client, that potential search client has zero loyalty, didn't know who to call. It's most likely the first time they've either talked to an attorney or the first time they've needed to utilize a lawyer for a reason or a service. They don't understand the legal process and they think that they've hit the lottery. They're going to make money. Okay? Take all of that and add that into the fact that they want to talk more than listen and you need specific information. Can upset a paralegal, can rub an office manager the wrong way, can rub a front desk person the wrong way. And we listen to calls all day long, calls we take here internally, as well as calls our law firm clients take. And I can tell you the majority of time, and this is why I started off the conversation saying a little bit of a chip on your shoulder, the majority of time when office staff are taking inbounds, unless they've been properly trained by their attorneys, they're a little bit cold and standoffish when they take inbound calls because they're so used to having to screen calls. Remember, not every law firm has 5 or 6 paralegals and 4 or 5 intake reps and an office manager and a front desk team. A lot of law firms, even law firms that we work with that are 1, 2, and 3-person attorneys, might have 1 or 2 paralegals, maybe one intake person who also does front desk work. And that person is constantly trying to block the lawyers from getting bombarded by sales calls. So they're filtering sales calls, people trying to sell you ink toner, people trying to sell you SEO or PPC, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, people trying to get to the attorney for a number of reasons. The front desk slash intake people a lot of times wear multiple hats, and they are trying to screen calls as well as take inbound calls. That means that sometimes they're a little cold. The call comes in, the potential client wants to talk, and the intake rep is, I just need this information, this information, this information, and they don't kid glove it. So the next part about the mentality is when a call comes in from a search, your staff needs to kid glove that call. They need to understand that because there was no loyalty associated with it, no reference. The person, I'm not saying they're uneducated, but they made a knee-jerk reaction to go to Google to find an attorney because they didn't know who to call. They don't fully understand the legal process. They probably have never utilized an attorney before, and just due to the nature of personal injury, they've seen all these flashy billboards and TV commercials about win a lot of money. They think they're going to win a lot of money. They don't understand how the process works. So it can be a train wreck when you have that type of caller and then you have someone who's answering the phone who doesn't understand that. You need to educate your staff and let them know they need to kid glove these calls. The next part about it, they need to understand, meaning your staff needs to understand that if you get a phone call from a reference or a referral, that's a slam dunk. If you get a phone call or an intake from a searcher, that search is not a slam dunk. You still have to sell it. And not only do you have to sell it, that call could have cost you $150, $500, $900. We have search ad clicks and LSA ad clicks all the time that range between $500 and $900. That's not a conversion. That's a phone call or a form fill click. Okay. That means that your staff needs to know, look, not only are these calls a little bit of a pain that you know what to deal with, not only do you have to go slow and kid glove it, that call could cost about $1,000. Do not blow it. Do not rush the client. Listen to them, listen to the potential client, understand their mentality, understand that they don't know everything. They really don't know the legal process, and they're a little antsy and hyper and animated. Let your staff know that they have to go slow, they have to kid glove it, provide excellent customer service, and understand that that call costs a lot of money. That intake rep in your office, whoever's handling this, you're paying them, if you're doing it the correct way, a W-2 salary or hourly wage. Their paycheck depends greatly upon the financial success of your firm. So if you sit down and explain to them, look, I'm investing $10,000, $20,000, $100,000, $1 million into marketing. I'm investing all this money to bring inbound calls. Each one of those calls can be $200, $500, $1,000. Please make sure that you kid glove those calls. Let them know that up front so they understand, hey, while I still need to screen calls, I also need to make sure I do so in a manner that's not just professional, because this is above and beyond professional. They also have to give that white glove, kid glove, American Express black card customer service to these clients because they still have to sell it. Okay, so we touched upon a little bit of the initial mentality, zero loyalty. They're not fully versed in the legal process. They think they won the lottery. They're antsy, and the intake rep needs to know it costs a lot of money. The next part is getting the documents signed. I cannot tell you because we get access to CallRail or intake lines for, I want to say, 99% of our clients, so we can hear the intakes that we do and the intakes that their internal staff does. You cannot let the caller off the phone without signing a retainer. If your intake staff does not understand that, you will lose probably 50 to 60% of the leads that you get. Here's why. When John Smith or Jane Smith Google car accident lawyer and they land on an ad and click and call, we as an agency want to believe that, hey, we're so good, you got first dib. You're the first person they called. And sometimes you are. Sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're the second person they called or the third person they called. Maybe they called one or two other law firms first who didn't answer the phone, and then you did. Well, if you don't keep that person on the phone, send them documents electronically, get those documents signed, get them back, start collecting other additional documentation from them. If you just take some generic information and tell them you're going to call them back, or you're going to email them the docs, have them fill it out and send it back, they will not fill it out. 9 times out of 10, you will lose that lead. They will not fill it out. Because the minute that your intake team gets off the phone with them, they get bombarded by another attorney calling them back. Hey, we missed your call. Or they call someone else. Or they got to take the kids to school. Or they have to walk back in their office and talk to and do work. Or they're at the doctor and the doctor comes in. It's out of sight, out of mind. If you have that caller on the phone, your intake staff, whether they're coming up against their lunch break, it's the end of the day to clock out, or it's late at night, they need to stay on the phone and sign that client, send the docs electronically while they stay on the phone, get the documents signed, confirm they've got them back, still keep the potential client on the phone, then send them a follow-up email like a welcome package email, welcome to our law firm, blah, 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 confirm they have that, get additional contact information. Not just their phone number, not just their email. Get a phone number for their wife or their cousin or whoever else is in their life, just in case something happens. Let's just say you take the case and 3 weeks down the road they're supposed to be treating and you can't get a hold of them. You need multiple contact points for that one potential client. Again, at that time, now you can request additional documentation, such as, but not limited to, hey, John or Jane Smith, do you have photos of the accident? Do you have your discharge paperwork from the hospital or a printout that an urgent care gave you? Do you have a police report or an accident report number? Let me get the insurance of the party who hit you. Let's get the documentation there, or the driver's license number, or the license plate. Any additional supporting documentation now you can collect. These are all things that need to go into consideration, that need to be addressed with your intake team in order to convert car accident leads into signed MVA retainers. And there's a lot more that goes into this as well. We've helped countless law firms train their own intake teams. We have live intake teams here in Westlake Village, California, and Frisco, Texas, just north of Dallas. If you have questions about how we can help your current staff do a better job of intakes, or if you'd like to utilize us for intakes, or if you'd like to utilize us to generate car accident leads and sign MVA retainers, give us a call at 805-273-8791, 805-273-8791, or visit us at www.lucrativelegal.com. We're here to help you and your firm increase your caseload. Have a good day.